Okay, if I say Mara Malka Chad Yarfa, yeah, he was going for one month. Kaddish Yomim. Rifta Gaonate. And he went to Gaonate. Shchivu Bosa Perk. Ruba decided Masa Mechasia B'Shir Tlosi Yorche. In a short span, with 3 months, most of the Gaonim of Masa Mechasia went to their just rewards. In the Rabbinic Rabinowitz as an open question here. He says, "Haim ze rak mikreb ama shevshur go mishtar shebit zek shosim b'tias rab malka misura v'gat tias rab malka pibudisa perikudam mudveish namadalet." I guess that this is some reason he uses this language specifically by people who named were Malka. Okay, but he doesn't answer the question. And he says here, also in the footnote, in the Rabinowitz's Biyurim, Zignei Tol Shlosh Chodashim Ein Perkim Rem Bamud V'Shulchan Sham Misaper V'Shigon also the Kesher Ador Rishon Shel Saboroim. So there were some times when people died in quick succession. The world turned over. We stand beside Hachin Mar Rav Hai Gaon Brei Rav Nachshon Gaon Sheva Shonim, and Istamach is interesting language, right? You got the smicha. He says that on page Reish in the Rabinowitz says this maneh. That's the Hebrew translation. The Istamach. Kanshu margishim shirgon omikoro, where the source in which he took it. So Hishamesh Munach Miyuchad uses a special language. Istamich. To explain to describe the appointment shall Gaon since he became a Gaon after a great turnover. So then the Istamich is a language of reimposing authority. Mm-hmm. I don't think this is our Rav Hai Gaon, because our Rav Hai Gaon was after Sherira Gaon. So some other Rav Hai Gaon. Bar Mar Rav Natrunoi. Sorry, was in the Hebrew. Basei Mar Rav Eloi Gaon Bar Mar Rav Natrunoi Gaon Shmona Shonim. Basei Mar Rav Eloi Bar Mar Rav Mishael Shiva Shonim. Basei is doubtless Milsa Tu and Masa Mechasia. After that, the level went down dramatically. Masa Mechasia, the low ishtaru beichachime. There were no chachamim left over there. It says in the screen text, he says, "Below ishtaru beichachime near machlekos shayuba or the pushman and mahan because there's so many machlekos people left little by little. Uvain the shivas pumpadisa." I don't know if he has any evidence for that, but that's his assertion that's what went on. Okay.
What kind of yeshivas were there in Eretz Yisrael at this time?
What?
What kind of yeshivas were there in Eretz Yisrael?
There was yeshiva in Tveria throughout all those years. There was yeshiva in Tveria. It was not considered to be on the same level as the yeshiva in Bavel, but there was always yeshiva in Tveria from the time of the Amorite. It underwent a lot of persecutions. But they had to. I don't know if it was always in its proper spot, but it was there. So
when did it finally die out?
Probably towards the end of the period of the Gaonim as well. It's a good question.
Okay.
Let's see if we can find it quickly.
Yeah, because I mean. The first generation of the Amoraim were going back and forth, Kiyasa Rabdimi, but the later times, and you might sometimes say, when Ma'arava Omrim, and I don't know who says that, but the prominence or the knowledge about what, or the reference into Eretz Yisrael is kind of, peters out.
Right.
As you get further along in the Amoraim and the Bavli.
So it's from AI, so it might all be a lie. During the Gaonic period, the Yeshiva Tiberias, while important in the land of Israel, is non-essential Gaonic institution, in the same way as the Babylonian Yeshivas of Sura and Pumbedisa. The Gaonim, well, that's about all it says. It's the Then it takes me to the Wikipedia on Gaonim. And Rav Hai Gaon actually lived before Rav Shira Gaon. No, not true. It was afterwards. No, that was right. No, it was afterwards.
I was his son.
Yeah, right. So there is a Wikipedia entry about the Palestinian Gaonate. And there's the Talmudical Yeshiva, Talmudical Academy in Syria, Palestina, and essentially listed by a Palestinian Jewish community during the middle 9th century, even earlier, until its demise in the 11th century. It competed with Talmudic academies in Babylonia. The Egyptian and German Jews particularly regard the Palestinian Gaonim as their spiritual leaders. The history of Palestinian Gaonim was revealed in documents discovered in the Cairo Geniza in 1896. Sparse information is available in the Gaonim before the middle of the 9th century. In the middle of the 9th century, the leadership of the academy was transferred from Tiberias to Jerusalem. Then was forced to move to Tyre in Lebanon in 1071. The authority was later transferred to Fustat in Egypt. So it sometime in the 1000s it stopped.
Okay.
So there's very scanty information, but there's a obviously in the 900s when Reb Saidi Gaon had his tremendous machlokas with Reb Aaron ben Meir. Reb Aaron Meir was in 920 something the Rosh Yeshiva in Tveria. So there was a major yeshiva in Tveria at the time. So it's not as if it didn't exist. I'm surprised he doesn't bring it down here. It just brings down the stuff from later on. Anyway, I guess because we don't know that much about it, because a lot of it comes from the Geniza, so therefore the article is lousy.
Saja was before of Sherira or after?
Messiah was before Rosh Hashanah. He's coming up. We haven't seen him yet.
Oh, okay.
Afterwards, the rabbis were thinking about canceling the Masa Mechasia. Masa Mad Mishtar Bo Pumbedisa, everybody remained there, called Pumbedisa. Well, so Vaskim Mulas Nismach Marav Nasan Aluf Achi Avinu. I can't think of his name. Nasan Aluf. I guess the name was, he was called Aluf. Interesting language. Usually means he was very rich. There's in here. Nasser Aluf. It says here. It's the Rabbi, but it says it's like the term Rosh Kala.
What does that mean?
What? I guess when they used to have the Archikala, he used to be head of it.
Okay.
He's not sure about that. Let's see what he says here. Nothing. Really? Nothing? He doesn't even address it. No, maybe it's further down here. No, nothing.
Right.
No, doesn't say what it is. Achi Avinu. So he says here it was his uncle. Breder Marav Yudoi Gaon, Avi Avinu, the son of his grandfather. B'shem Gaonates of Mechasia. Okay, Lord of the Bittul Shmei, in order that its name should not be canceled. But while they were trying to get him in place, it didn't work, and he died. Then David the Reish Galusa came. The Marav Sadigon Barav Yosef. This is the famous of Sadigon. Okay, you hit him. The low mean b'nei rabbanim Sibasta. He didn't learn in Bavel. And Mitzrayim, he was from Egypt. V'yadia b'Pume, he was known in Fume, which was one of the towns in Egypt. The Samche b'Iyar Shnas Reiv Shlam Tes, and they appointed him in Reish Shlam Tes, which is 927. No, 923. So 923. So the great feud with Rabbi Aaron ben Meir about the calendar occurred just before he became Gaon. He was probably made Gaon as a result of that feud. So the Kadib Mandishtar mean B'nai on the Rabbanan the Mechasia, and he gathered together all the people remained from the children of rabbis in Mechasia. Umin Ilule the Smiche Rabbanan Pudisa, and from the
Best,
what?
the best of the rabbis.
No. Ilule means young.
Okay.
So the actually the Rabbi would say he doesn't know what the word Ilule means, so it could mean the best. But here he also he says in it's printed in the screen, Talmidim Tzrim Lashon Olalim. Olalim are youngsters. So he says, "Speaker Rabban B'Medisi Utziri Yeshivas Masa Mechasia Zvim Shivasan, but Yeshivas B'Medisi only term B'Bir Rabban Diasve Hasam." So I guess he took them and returned them to Masa Mechasia. V'osim Mesifta Masa Mechasia Tatin Shneim. And the yeshiva Masa Mechasia was a store for 2 years. V'natza b'hadi David Anossi, and he had a fight with David Anossi. V'kaya Rabbanan Saadia lachui to David Anossi, Miskari Yoshio Yos Reish Galusa. So Saadia wanted to stage a coup and make this brother the Rosh Gola. V'losa b'yadav, and it didn't work. V'itche Yeshaya l'Karasan. So I went to Khorasan, which is an area about 1,400 kilometers away from Baghdad, says the Rabbi Rabinowitz. Evidently, it was a very Karaite area. Okay. He brings down here, which is doubtly one side of the story, that Naflam Riva Beno Ben David Anaski Bikshu Shechta Bikshu Shechta Piskei Din Uvasim. We wanted to sign on distorted psukim Shotzia Nasi. Rav Sadi see Rev Lachtom Aleim. Refused to sign them. Came at Lotarim Neish. Came Shpat Lalokimu. He says here in Rabinowitz, says if you're Rav Levi, Zos Hoysa. I know what that means. Rav Sherira Gaon enumerated many machlokas, but this is the only real one. I guess the other ones maybe were on account of personal issues. Unlike the screen says Rav Sherira Gaon not known about this. It says Ma'amar Yisrael for some Shem Nasan Abavli, the Sefer Kabbalah. But he refuses to tell us here what it was. I was looking at the Sadia of the David Menzaka controversy. So I think we have to look it up on Wikipedia and see what it says here. Second. Oh, it's a lot of people have evidently written on it. The friendly relations between David and Zaka and Sadia were soon disturbed. David shrank from nothing which might strengthen his position and must use his influence in order to extort large contributions from the community. A case of inheritance which David had decided illegally for reasons of self-interest led to a rupture between the two. The ex-lark asked the two going to sign the document in question. Kohen Tzedek dared not refuse. I guess he was going in Sura at the time, but Sadia did. David deposed Sadia from office and banished him according to the point of his place insignificant Joseph ben Jacob ben Satya. Had the Sadia, however, took up the conflict, he in turn deposed David, and together with his followers appointed David's brother Hosea Hassan as ex-lark. The Babylonian Jews were divided by two parties, each of which appealed to the Caliph al-Muqtadir. The successor al-Kahir finally decided the case. The opposing ex-lark was banished to Khorasan, where later he died. Sadia was deprived of his Gaonate beginning of 933. Sadia went to Baghdad, devoting the 4 years of his involuntary leisure to research. He was reinstated in consequence of a law case in which one of the parties concerned chose the ex-lark as judge, while the other chose Sadio, whereupon David had the man maltreated who appealed to his adversary. This caused general excitement, and restoration of the peace between the two became imperative. Reconciliation took place on February 27th, 937. You know the exact date. The opposing Gaon was removed from office. Sadia forgot his injuries. After Exelarch's death, Sadia even voted for his son Judah as his successor. Okay, so it was over a case of inheritance, and evidently David Exelarch was in the wrong. Okay, so the Kari David Nossi. Let's go back here. Kari David Nossi, Rav Yosef Braid, Rav Yaakov Gaon, the Yediyah Bar Satya, was known as the son of Satya. Leos Gaon Masa Mechasia. V'rach b'shanim haya. He was young. The time of Kotan Yolagabe Marav Sadigon. It's a relatively minor personality. The Nechba Mara Sadigon Kamashanim Misham Mishal Emas Machlokas David Nossi. Here because of the fear of the Machlokas. Rav Yosef Nahak Gaonis b'Masa Mechasia. Rav Yosef was the Gaon of Masa Mechasia. Sophie Pius Rabbi Nasadi David Nossi. Eventually they made peace. For Rav Yosef Kam B'Duchtei, Rav Yosef remained in place.
Yeah, that's what he says down below.
What happened to Rav Sai? He didn't take out his job back?
Look at the notes. I happened to see it earlier. Go down. All the on-screen notes.
The screen notes?
Yeah.
This is Gomai Koma Kafkir Shon Africa Spice and Sim Rav Sadia Gon Brazil Gonus Lovi as Yes Tafkir Shimshish name Begoinus. Okay. You both serve this going. The cloud of Shoshani the Marsa Rav Sadia Arbas Shni. All the years that he was involved in all these stories, by the time he came going until he died, were 14 years, including all the years where he had to go into hiding. These Rabbi Reynolds cast aspersions on this. Okay, but anyway, V'shachim Marav Sadi B'mei Gaon Avinu. Rav Sadi died during the lifetime of Shriya's father. V'shnas Reish Gimel beside David Nossi. In Reish Gimel, he outlived David Nossi, and that's why he was able to vote for David's son as successor. Rav Yosef Masa Mechasia. Rav Yosef became the sole Gaon in Masa Mechasia. Interesting language.
Because they're both serving at the same time, and then Rav Sajid died, so then he was the only one left.
Yeah. He's Dowdless Milsa Lagamre. And the situation went down dramatically. Evidently because he had his David, his supporter had died. And he was not able to open his mouth even relative to Aaron Gaon, who was his lower in stature, the Gaon of Pumbedisa. He says at this point, Aaron was still a private individual. As he says, they say the text here too. He says, Aaron's a lawyer, Roy Lagonis, Rav Yosef Pachos Mimenu. Okay. It was even Rav Yosef was bad, was inferior, and he was inferior to Rav Aaron himself. Was not a significant goal. It says here in the Rabinowitz, Bangon Amisa Shabbat Simplisa Gom Tzayim Rav Shimon the common practice Zayin Mulei Shayvov. When Mishlav Zadai Chai Aaron Kodam Prati Baghdad. Moshe Rav Alevi. So Rav Yosef was even subordinate to this private individual. Ulona said going at 240-54 million shtos. Shigam Sabosh Rav Yosef Kokach Bazui B'nei B'nei Pumbedisa. He's so degraded in the eyes of people in Pumbedisa. V'yolamdan Kokach Katon. With such a minor lamdan. Sheish Hashvel Sofil Rab Aaron Hashafel. Can't even make equivalency between him and the lowly Aaron. Kishutar Rav Shirgon the common as Rav Shirgon we'll describe him later today on. Okay. So he went. He says, "V'shavkei l'Masa Mechasia Bavel Kula." Rabbi Yosef just left Bavel. V'az Rabbi Yosef made him Disa the Basra. He went to live in Basra. Shalom died there. Sarachi Lava Masifta Masa Mechasia, and that was the end of the period of the yeshiva existing in Masa Mechasia. Okay, and with this he finishes the chapter, Rabbi Benowitz, and he says that this is the case until the time of the writing of the Iggeres in 987. But 2 years after the Iggeres was written, the yeshiva in Sura was open again for more than 50 years. And he brings down a whole sequence. So it did rise again, but from the time that from this time till the time of the Iggeres, there's no issue Masa Mechasia. Okay, this ends the chapter here in the Rabbi Benowitz. So we'll stop here for today.
Okay.
We'll with Perek Design next time.
Okay. Shkach.
Okay, have a good week.
Thank you. You too. Bye.